In the last video, we created a base platform widget abstract class. And now we are ready to subclass this by creating our own platform alert dialog. So in common widgets, I'm going to create a new Dart file named platform alert dialog, like this. And in here, I can declare a class platform alert dialog to extend platform widget, like this. And I'm going to import platform widget. Now, just to be clear, what we are aiming for is to build a reusable alert dialog class, which will have a title, some content, and a single button that the user can press to dismiss the dialog. So let's create some instance variables for this. And I'm going to type in final string title, final string content, and final string default action text. I also want to create a constructor for these variables, and I'm going to use curly braces so that they become named parameters for my constructor. And I can put it at the top like this. And then we can implement the overrides that we are missing from platform widget, like this. Okay, so it looks like I might have been importing a file that I shouldn't, so I'm going to remove this import. And what I'm going to do instead is to import both material and also Cupertino, because I will be using widgets from both the material and the Cupertino set. So I'm going to do like this. Okay, and now all my warnings have been resolved. What I also want to do is to make sure that all these three parameters that I pass to the constructor are required. So to do that, I'm going to type in @required, and I'm going to do it for all of them. And finally, I'm also going to assert that these three values are not null, so that I can ensure that platform alert dialogs is used correctly. So here I can type in a colon and then assert title is not null, and then assert that content is not null, and finally assert that default action text is not null. And then I can format my code like this. Okay, so as a next step, we can implement this method overrides, build Cupertino widget, and build material widget. So let's do that. I'm going to start with the build material widget. And so in here, I'm going to type in return and then an alert dialog, which is the one we have encountered before. And then I pass a title with text, title, like this. And content is text with content parameter. And then I need to pass an array of actions like this. So for now, I'm just going to leave this array empty. And what I'm going to do instead is to create a separate method which will return a list of actions. So this is going to have a return type of list widget, like this. And I'm going to call this underscore build actions. And I'm going to pass it the build context as well, in case I need it. And for now, I'm just going to make this return an empty array. And we'll see why this method is useful in a second. And from here, I can then just call build actions with context, like this. And then I can go ahead and also implement the build Cupertino widget. Okay, so the build Cupertino widget is very similar to the build material widget, but the difference is that here I return a Cupertino alert dialog. And this also takes similar parameters. So it has a title, and again, I can pass a text with title, and also content with text and content. And it also has an array of actions. And here, once again, I call build actions like this with context. Okay, so we can see that now the build material widget returns an alert dialog, and the build Cupertino widget returns a Cupertino alert dialog, and they both call the same build actions method. So the next step is to implement the build actions method to return something useful. So if you remember, when we added the code to show a dialog in our email signing form, we simply used a flat button as a single action in our dialog. So what we are going to do now is to borrow this code and use it in our platform alert dialog. So I'm going to copy this and then back to the platform alert dialog. Inside the list of actions, I'm going to paste it like this. And before I continue, I can update the value that I passed to this text to be default action text, which is passed to the constructor of my class. Okay, so we now have a button that we can display in our platform alert dialog, and this works well on Android, but this is not what we want to show on iOS. Instead, what I'm going to propose is that we create a custom platform alert dialog action widget and use that instead. So at the bottom over here, I'm going to create a new class, platform alert dialog action extends platform widget. And this class will have two instance variables. The first is a final widget child, and the second one is a final void callback on pressed, like this. And then I can create a constructor for these two variables, and I'm gonna put it at the top and add curly braces so that we can use named parameters, like this. Then I can implement the methods from the base class by creating the missing overrides. So for my Cupertino widget, I'm going to return a Cupertino dialog action, which takes a child, which is a child, and then on pressed, like this. And in my build material widget, I'm going to return a flat button, also passing the child that we have provided, and the onPressed callback that we also have provided, like this. And with this, we have now created a platform-aware dialog action widget, which we can use up here. In fact, all we have to do now is to replace our flat button with our new platform alert dialog action. And the text object and onPressed callback that we pass in here are going to be used as the parameters of the Cupertino dialog action and flat button widgets that we create over here. Okay, so we now have everything that we need to create a platform-aware alert dialog, and we will see how we can show it in the next video.